Two very surprising headlines brought us into the weekend on May 28th. They came from Deadline and Hollywood Reporter, but they were based on something else that occurred. A wide-ranging interview that was conducted by the New York Times on Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos, who, according to the Deadline headline, defends Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais' free speech, saying it used to be a very liberal issue. And of course, Hollywood Reporter chose to highlight something else. Everything's not going to be for everybody. Apparently, something Ted Sarandos clearly thought about. In fact, the subheadline here says nobody would say that what he does isn't thoughtful or smart. You just don't agree with him. And of course, he's referring to Dave Chappelle. It's not the first time that Ted Sarandos has come to the defense of Dave Chappelle, and it probably won't be the last. I think the sentiment is very good. And I think you can see a small title shift, not just at Netflix, maybe elsewhere. Let's dive into this. Here we go. Lots of related stories, at least for Netflix, broke over the last few weeks. You see, for the first time ever, they lost a substantial portion of their subscribers. Okay, it's not that substantial, only 200,000, but they did speak to the fact that they think they could lose 2 million in the next quarter. That caused some concern. How much? 70% of their market value. That's staggering and quite hurtful, but it points to a larger problem, and that is the global crisis is over, and artificially having people subscribe to your service when you don't really offer them very much in return, well, they tend to leave. So Netflix does what they have to do, and Netflix employee trust erodes amid layoffs as ex-staffers say company culture is changing. Well, no kidding. It seems that during the first part of the year, a memo started to circulate throughout Netflix. Something that was an internal Google Doc that garnered some 10,000 comments from employees before the final published product showed up on their website, which of course, it was released earlier this month. Its notes included the following: a directive for employees to spend Netflix members' money wisely, and a reminder that leaders also needed to be held accountable for following the company's values. Of course, this comes on the heels of some bad behavior in their offices by certain employees that were very frustrated with Dave Chappelle's special for any number of reasons. But there was one section in particular on artistic expression in this memo that stood out to some of the staffers. And here's the quote: "Not everyone will like or agree with everything on our service. The note specifies, ending with a message aimed directly at the staffers. Depending on your role, you may need to work on titles you perceive to be harmful. If you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the place for you." Strong statement, and a good one, indicating a small shift inside their offices. But it came a little later that we found that Netflix lays off about 150 employees. Well, right before this memo came out, they laid off about 25. So at this point, it's about 2% of their US workforce. And of course, this is easily explained by the slowdown in their revenue. 70 part-time roles, particularly in the animation department, essentially got eliminated. And that's probably because they eliminated their animation studio, which probably was a good move. Lots of people can animate for you. You don't need your own thing. So Netflix has pink slipped about 150 staffers. They're mostly in the US, as it reins in costs with its top line growth having slowed down. The cuts come across all departments, but of course, obviously, animation took the brunt of it. And it came across some projects that people weren't, very excited for, and probably were going to be somewhat divisive. And, well, let's just take a look at them, shall we? We have Netflix scrapping several animated projects, including Ava DuVernay's Wings of Fire and Anti-Racist Baby, both of which were going to be tailored towards younger eyeballs with all of the modernity and the tilt towards Marxism that we've been railing against for a very long time. So these these particular animated projects have essentially been eliminated. The streaming service also scrapped some other divisive programming like Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, which is a quote-unquote documentary intended to serve as a companion piece to the quote-unquote Stamped from the Beginning, which was a hybrid documentary scripted feature that dives into race in the United States. Apparently, Stamped from the Beginning is still moving forward and is currently in post-production, but this companion piece is not. I think they will bury that documentary very, very deeply when it does come out. Of course, sources at Netflix are stressing that the decisions not to move forward with these projects were creative rather than cost-related, meaning that they would have taken place regardless of the company's slower revenue growth. Insiders also note that the animation has a longer gestation period than live action. Given the comparatively drawn-out timelines, it's less unusual for movies or television shows to go back into development or part ways entirely over creative decisions. In other words, the culture is shifting, and the employees have been calling it out. It's important to point out, however, that Netflix is still heavily investing in animation, with Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous, Kung Fu Panda, The Dragon Knight, My Dad the Bounty Hunter, and Gabby's Dollhouse among the film and television shows that are in the works currently. The studio's recently released The Mitchells vs. the Machines and plans to unveil director Guillermo del Toro's stop-motion animated version of Pinocchio is still planned for later this year. But this is all part of something much broader: the maturation of the streaming wars as they've been described. Netflix is the granddaddy of them all with over 200 million subscribers. They have probably reached that very tipping point, or the apex of what they could possibly hope to garner in regular subscribers. That's a mature market. Disney, on the other hand, is standing against the edge of a cliff, and their content will be the only thing that could drive growth in the future, as they've already gone faster with their expansion internationally than they had originally planned in an effort to drive the subscriber number, which artificially made their streaming service look successful. It's not. It doesn't turn a profit. In fact, none of Disney's streaming services turn a profit right now, which is why there are some things going on in the background that I think we'll cover in a future video. But from Variety's VIP platform, we have Can Obi-Wan Kenobi and Stranger Things 4 actually help Disney and Netflix? Right now, as you know, both of these things premiered over the course of the weekend, and according to social media trends, were second and third over the course of that very same weekend to, of course, number 1, Top Gun Maverick. Number 2, Stranger Things, has a wide lead by just a giant margin over Disney's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there's a reason. Stranger Things Season 4 is apparently returned to form based on the reviews that I've been able to watch recently. A lot of people are really into the show and are telling me that it's back. Well, I may dip in and take a look at it, but to be honest with you, I think they lost me completely last season forever. Disney, on the other hand, is produced Obi-Wan Kenobi and again done exactly what they've done every other time and put Kenobi firmly in second or third place in his own series, at least based on all reporting, because guess what? This is another thing I haven't seen. But the question on the table is, can they actually help Disney and Netflix? I think Stranger Things 4 will show you that Netflix is bringing back good quality content, and as you start to get closer to Cobra Kai and many other things, I think Netflix will be able to rebound and maybe lose less than the 2 million subscribers projected for the next quarter. Disney, on the other hand, continues to dilute down the quality of their content and basically ruin their IPs for future use, at least based on the reviews that I've been able to consume from a wide variety of sources, including some folks that on the normal circumstance would be, well, they'd be loving Disney. Regardless, will this help? Yes, I think you will see a boost for Netflix. I am not sure you'll see anything positive for Disney, and I just kind of want to leave it there. Feel free to read this entire article. It is very good. It is worth your time talking about the showdown between these two shows. It's pretty certain that the overall streaming numbers will tilt favorably towards Netflix when it comes to head-to-head. In fact, this may end up replacing Bridgerton as the most viewed show of all time. We'll have to see. At least, you know, I would anticipate that Stranger Things 4 could do that. This, of course, is something that Netflix absolutely needs after their last quarter. Disney, they're supposed to reach 250 million subscribers by the end of 2024, and I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll have to see what happens if Obi-Wan even moves the needle, but I don't think so. I do know this, Stranger Things Season 4 cost $30 million per episode. Well, from what I hear, every single dollar was seen. There's also some great charts in the article, so do check it out. But really, what do you think? Do you think that Stranger Things will reset things for Netflix? Maybe. Do you think Obi-Wan will try to correct some things for Disney? Unlikely. Do you think that there's a change or a shift at Netflix in maybe a more positive direction, a less divisive? Maybe. Doubtful, but maybe. Do you think it's possible Disney will do the same thing? Not anytime in the near future. As I've said many times before, Disney is usually the last to adapt and change, so we'll have to see. Anyway, please use the comment section down below. Give me your thoughts. I would appreciate it. I want to say thank you to Grant for editing this video because it was kind of all over the place, and you probably saw some of it here in the video itself. Do support other independent creators out there, though, because they absolutely could use that support. My editor, Mr. Grant Gregory, has a YouTube channel. He's great at everything that he does. I just wish he would do more when he has time. You're also going to see a new channel coming from me this week on Wednesday, June 1st. If you're watching this video at a different time, then the channel's already out there. Hopefully I will include that in the very first video that I release. I will come back to the description here and add the channel and all the information for you to jump on it. It's going to be great. Very excited for my DIY channel. If you're less interested in pop culture and more interested in building things, repairing things, and growing things, my channel will probably be for you, or at least that channel. Anyway, with that being said, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.